Welcome back to another episode of Tales After Dark. This is a podcast filled with scary stories, and we will be diving deep into the world's most treacherous cult crimes. Many of the paranormal and creepy stories heard here are from articles that I have found on Reddit. Article information will always be included in the show notes below each episode. To submit a terrifying tale of your own, please email stories.talesafterdark@gmail.com. And make sure to follow TAD Podcast along on Reddit. Paranormal investigations and spooky adventures will soon be coming to the Tales After Dark YouTube channel. You can find those videos and all podcast episodes there, so don't forget to subscribe. The show is brought to you by the MW Network and produced by me, your host, Emma Dawn. Tales After Dark is made possible by our sponsors. The Home Bookkeeper Masterclass. The paranormal isn't my full-time gig. Outside of podcasting, I am a home bookkeeper. Check out how I was able to ditch my 9-to-5 grind and spend more time creating and doing all the spooky things I love by becoming a home bookkeeper. More information on my Home Bookkeeper Masterclass can be found on my company website, edjconsultinggroup.com, under Resources. Zaya Active. What's better than curling up in a nice pair of leggings and your Tales After Dark sweatshirt and listening to a spooky tale? In my completely biased opinion, not much. Visit myzaya.com/Emmadon for premium and affordable men's, women's, and youth active and loungewear. And make sure to check out the Tales After Dark merch store on teespring.com. Do you like to sip while you listen? Then sip with purpose by choosing One Hope Wines. One Hope is a Napa Valley wine company that has given back over $5 million to nonprofits. So put your wine to work by shopping One Hope at onehopewine.com/myshop/mommywines. All sponsor links are always included in the show notes. Don't forget to check them out, but most importantly and simply subscribe to the show, leave a rating and review, and share Tales After Dark with your friends. Rogues Hollow already sounds like a scary place. But then you add in legends and tales of headless horsemen and ghost trains, outlaws like Jesse James, witches, coal miners crossing the road decades post-mine operation, buildings repeatedly burning down to the ground, a baby crying under a bridge, and so many more. The eerie-sounding name seems to be quite suited. Within a 100-year period from the 1820s to the 1920s, Rogues Hollow was known to be one of the meanest places in the United States. This outlying coal town offered 7 saloons and acres of hiding spots for violent criminals and outlaws on the lam, adding to the sudden deaths of the few who resided there. Since starting this podcast, I have been asked a lot in emails and on Reddit if I would be telling the tales of my hometown, what it was like growing up in a paranormal playground filled with centuries of less than reputable history. The answer you've been waiting for is yes. In this series, I will be sharing all the tales of Rogues Hollow, Ohio. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Tales After Dark. This is the final episode of the Rogues Hollow series. I hope that you have enjoyed listening and tuning in to the historic and terrifying tales of my hometown as much as I have enjoyed creating this series for you. If you want to support the area of Rogues Hollow, or you want to get a little piece of something to show your appreciation for the show, then make sure to check out the Tales After Dark merch store on teespring.com. The link will be in the show notes below. Now, I have designed Rogues Hollow merch specifically for this series, and the profits from that merch sale will be going to the Rogues Hollow Historical Society. They keep up with the area. They have preserved Chidester Mill. They run the museum. They put on the Rogues Hollow Festival every year, and they also perform the Walk Through the Hollow event around Halloween. Now, I have not shared every story from the Hollow. I encourage you to go out and explore on your own. But in this final episode, I am going to be sharing one of the tales that absolutely terrified me as a child. The ruins of this story are still in the area. I remember passing through them and asking my mom, "What is that? What are all those rocks?" And this is the story she eventually told me. So let's go ahead and get into it. As you may know, Rogues Hollow even predates what is now known as Doylestown. Rogues Hollow is one of the earliest settlements in the area due to the mines that had rock-hard coal pumping through their veins. Coal mining, though a dangerous and filthy job, especially in the mid-1800s, still lured in men desperate to provide for their families. Rogues Hollow always remained a small nook settled deep within Ohio's northeast corner. So the folks had to provide for themselves. The community came together to build homes, farm the land, and teach the children. Which brings us to today's tale. As a child, like I mentioned in previous episodes, we used to travel through the Hollow quite often. It was the most scenic back road path to my grandparents' house. My mother hated driving on highways or anywhere there was a lot of traffic, so through the Hollow we'd go. This sounds like a dark scene from a fairy tale, where the witch hands you an apple or the wolf tries to blow your house down. But trust me when I say, Rogues Hollow is no fairy tale. On the intersection of Galehouse Road and Hametown Road, there may still be a resemblance of an old schoolhouse. As a child, we would always pass these ruins of a small building made of large stone bricks. Even then, 20 years ago, the building was fallen and almost consumed by the overgrown foliage. We passed it so often, I must have finally one day wore my mother down into telling me the story of the building. The small stone structure was once a schoolhouse. All of the children in the Hollow, regardless of age, were all taught in one room by one woman who came to the area with her husband who worked in the mine. Life in the Hollow back then, though hard, was starting to become routine. Everyone did their part. Everyone had a job. One day, the school teacher stopped mid-lesson, seemingly drowsy. She began closing the windows and locked the front door, and closing all of the children, including herself, inside. She then started pouring coal powder along the base of the walls. At this time, the children started questioning what she was doing. Her mood quickly went from sweet, wholesome teacher who cared for children to angry and aggressive. She screamed at the children to stay in their seats, making the younger kids quiver in fear. Then she lit the coal dust and began laughing as the building quickly became engulfed in flames. As the other villagers saw the fire, they ran to the rescue and over the crackle heard laughter, surrounded by screams of burning children. Though they tried to put out the fire, nothing could be done until the schoolhouse was nothing but a pile of rock and ash. After the villagers of Rogues Hollow took time to grieve their lost children and the horrific tragedy that happened, they began rebuilding the schoolhouse. A new teacher was assigned to educate the youth of the village, and a new hope shone down through the Hollow's forest canopy above. Before the new teacher's demeanor quickly changed, and the past repeated itself. The schoolhouse once again burned to the ground, the children and the teacher inside, and laughter barreling out from the flames. Since then, the schoolhouse hasn't been rebuilt. Instead, the children began either going to Clinton or Doylestown for schooling. With the darkness that lingered over the hollow, the coal miners began a short commute to the mines, and the neighboring areas became home to the families. The hollow only started being used for mining, farming, and ranching. No one longed to live in the area. The schoolhouse story is one of the local tales. It's one that's known, but not widely talked about. You won't find it on many internet hits when searching Google for tales of Rogues Hollow. It's a sad story many believe it to be of a curse from a local family of witches. Some think from the mines the Rogues Hollow water supply was contaminated, making the teachers go insane. Some believe it was something in the air, or even the devil himself whispering in the ear of the teachers. Children's sacrifices are extremely common when it comes to satanic practice. Maybe the schoolhouse tale was one of a sinister trade of souls. With the urban legend of the devil and the headless horse, who knows what could be lurking in the hollow, or what was brought there. What do you think of this story? If you're listening along on YouTube, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. If you are tuning in on a podcast platform, click the voice memo link in the show notes and share your theories, and you may hear yourself in an upcoming episode. Don't forget to take a listen to the other episodes in this series. The Tale of Crybaby Bridge, The Haunting of Chinister Mill, Notorious Outlaw Jesse James, The Headless Horse. And if you want to support the area and the Historical Society of Rogues Hollow, make sure to shop the Rogues Hollow merch on teespring.com. All of the links will always be included in the show notes below. And until next time, stay spooky.